Yo, what is going on, Cover One crew? Welcome back to the show. Hope everybody's good. Week 3 is upon us. And what we doing? We're talking start sit week number 3. We got to get it on the right note. Thursday Night Football just concluded. A couple days back because it was a not good contest. 49ers continue to roll and steamroll. If you're 0-2 so far, thus far in your fantasy season, do not worry. I got you covered. We will get you back on the right note, on the winning note. Never give up in fantasy football. I started 1 year 1-5, and I still made the playoffs, made it to the semifinals. It is never over until the fat lady sings. I'm telling y'all, let's dive into these Arizona Cardinals taking on the Dallas Cowboys. It's going to be a hard show for these Cards, even though they've played a lot better than I had anticipated overall as a team, as a unit. This is going to be an absolute dumbfire, no kidding, versus these Cowboys. Dobbs played well last week, but coming up against the bum rush of these Cowboys. Yes, they lost Trey Diggs, but this is, you still got Parsons. You still got a very solid, formidable unit. Dobbs, high risk. James Conner, low upside. Maybe garbage time productivity for Conner. I would definitely be looking in other directions. If you are looking to start Conner this week, it is going to be predicated upon potential garbage time upside. Likewise with a Marquise Hollywood. Low upside again for him as well. He may get past the defense because he's got some wheels. No Diggs. There is potential for that as well for a Hollywood. Well, you got to have some big kahunas to play that one. High risk for Moore, high risk for Wilson. Zach Ertz does pop off on the mid-level risk right now, and I think that he's, at least finding a role in this offense. Dobbs is that guy looking for safety blankets, and Zach Ertz could definitely be that guy for him in this offense. Trey McBride, high risk. You're not touching that right now. The Atlanta Falcons, surprisingly 2-0 so far this season, taking on the Detroit Lions. Desmond Ridder is now popped onto the fantasy football radar. Are we ready to start him just yet? Probably not, but he's got a mid-level risk for me this week. The man can run. If y'all did not know, he will use his legs and score touchdowns. He's got a decent deep ball in him. It's just accuracy and ball placement still the issue. How is this offense going to morph around? It's still going with the, notion that it's going to be the running backs, Bijan and Tyler Algier. Stud start for Bijan and the low risk for Algier. I think that, going up against the Lions who can move the ball, dealing with injuries on the back end in the secondary, lost Chauncey to a IR. I believe it was a torn pectoral muscle. Not good for the Detroit Lions. Their defense starting to see some injury, so I fully expect the Atlanta Falcons to continue on the ground with Bijan and Algier. They are likely getting Cordero Patterson back this week. Still high risk for me, but he should have some role in this offense because he's a playmaker as well. Just get the ball in his hand right now this week, high risk. Drake London, I'll give him the mid risk, as same as Kyle Pitts. This, if anything, okay, everybody's frustrated with Kyle Pitts. I get it. If this was the week to play Kyle Pitts, I think you do it because against the Detroit Lions defense, we should see these Falcons open it up just a tad more. You got to believe, man, Kyle Pitts has been non-existent in this offense in the first 2 weeks. You got to believe that at some point they're going to try to feed this man the ball. I do believe it could happen this week, but still mid-level risk for him and Drake London. The Baltimore Ravens, minus OBJ and Justice Hill, they are out of this contest. Lamar Jackson for me versus the Colts with no Anthony Richardson. Yes, it's going to be Gardner Minshew, but I do like Lamar as a stud start this week. I think they bounced back relatively well this past week in week 2, and they're starting to build some chemistry with the new offensive coordinator. I think Lamar is going to start figuring it out when it comes to like week 4, 5, 6. We should see a different Baltimore Ravens offense moving forward. Low risk for Gus Edwards. You got him, fire him up because we don't know if it's going to be Kenyon Drake or Melvin Gordon going to be called up from the practice squad. You're not touching that backup running back in this offense until we know further. I would definitely fire up Gus Edwards everywhere you got him. Likewise with Zay Flowers, low risk for me. This guy is likely going to be, hedging toward the fact of being the number 1 wide receiver target here for these Baltimore Ravens. I do like Zay a lot this week as well. High risk for Rashad Bateman, still not doing it, where Nelson Aguilar does come up on the mid-level risk. He caught that touchdown this past week. Lamar Jackson is always good with, guys he's comfortable with. So, Nelson Aguilar, I think he's going to find a way to get more comfortable with Lamar Jackson. Mark Andrews, low-level risk in this offense as well. I think that the Ravens should be able to put up a decent level amount of points against this Indianapolis Colts defense. The Buffalo Bills Mafia taking on the Washington Commanders, the Commies. And this is a good one because, the Commanders are 2-0 right now. Sam Howell, my guy's been absolutely beautifully playing, I guess I should say it that way, just playing very good football right now with an Eric Bieniemy. I told y'all, man, if you don't listen, I can't help you, man. You got to listen to what I'm saying. Sam Howell is a good quarterback. We're talking Josh Allen right now, low-level risk. He bounced back in a very big way this past week. Limited the mistakes, still played the type of football that we know Josh Allen can play. Had about 3 really great Josh Allen type throws. Low level risk once again, even though this defense will come at them from the defensive front. It will be a good battle, but I got low risk for a Josh Allen. James Cook, he found his way to a great boom game this past week, over 100 yards. I think that he's a mid-level risk against this defensive front this week. I do like the services. Play James Cook everywhere you got him, especially with the fact that there's so many running back injuries right now. We need some running backs, and James Cook does look good. Damien Harris, Lat Murray, they're on the high-level risk to TD upside. You want to say Lat Murray and Damien Harris will have that role as the game does move forward. They will go on goal line. They will go in short yardage, and they will go to kill the clock as the game does go on, but you can't play it right now in fantasy football. Stephon Diggs, 2 boom games in 2 weeks. You got to love what he's doing. Low-level risk. You're firing him up, obviously, everywhere. Same with Gabe Davis. We were waiting for the game, and he popped off this past week. You got to love what you see, and these Bills have optimal situations where they can utilize so many of these weapons in this offense. Diggs, Davis, Kincaid, and Knox, they're all going to be somewhat reliable, but I do believe that, Gabe has at least put himself back on the radar as a mid-level risk play right now. Kincaid, he's got the low upside this week. We got to see more before we can absolutely trust it. I do like the potential as we get, past the halfway point of the regular season and the Bills open up the playbook a little bit more to a Dalton Kincaid. He does look good. The route tree is great. I believe I saw it was like 4.1 yards per separation on routes for a Kincaid. You got to get this man the ball, y'all. And then Dawson Knox, he does still possess the TD upside where the Bills will not, get rid of it, as they are one of the higher teams at rate of running 12-man personnel. That is double tight end sets. Carolina Panthers taking on the Seattle Seahawks, and there is no Bryce Young. Rookie Bryce Young is sitting in this contest, and Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, is coming back to play some football. This might actually uplift this Carolina Panthers offense just a little bit right now. Yes, Bryce hasn't played horribly, but he hasn't played great overall either. Andy Dalton still, one last kick at the can. Can he steal one more job, one more season? He's a mid-level risk for me. Yes, he is coming off the bench, but he's been here before. He knows what it takes to play in this league. Miles Sanders, low-level risk for me. Yes, it has not been great, but I think this is the week versus the Seattle Seahawks, somewhat leaky defense versus the run, and Miles needs to be fed the ball to high frequency with an Andy Dalton where the team defense is actually going to fear the pass a little bit more, and it's only because Bryce is a rookie. That's the only reason why they're pressuring him so much, and they're not really terrified of the deep shot. This one should be Miles Sanders' week, so I'm definitely thinking to start a Miles, not with great high confidence, but he is definitely a low risk for me. Adam Thielen, PPR upside. Telling y'all, man, this offseason, safety blankets are key. Adam Thielen, Hayden Hurst will be the guys likely, but with an Andy Dalton, he will move this ball around. He will get the ball to an Adam Thielen. He will get the ball to Hayden Hurst, and then we could see some DJ Chark sprinkled into the mix. Mid-level risk for a DJ Chark. I'm not playing him this week, but I just want to see where he is. Adam Thielen, I do not hate the play in your flex spot whatsoever, and a Hayden Hurst, he should find his way back to some good point productivity. If you got him, I don't mind firing up Hayden Hurst this week as well. Chicago Bears taking on these Kansas City Chiefs. Justin Fields, he's not scanning the fields, man. What are you doing out there, Justin? I don't understand. He is not progressing well right now. It looks really, really bad. Missing reads, missing his wide receivers, not progressing the field, not even checking into his second and third options. It does not look good. Mid-level risk for me. Even though that Fields has had 2 boom games, 32.3 points, it's not to the level that we want to see. The rushing upside is even gone right now. He's not even taking off with his legs. What is going on in Chicago? We don't know. Mid-level risk against the Chiefs and Chris Jones, who's absolutely going to be providing a lot of pressure against this weak offensive line. Khalil Herbert, high-level risk. Don't know what's going on, man. They're not running the football. They're not letting Justin Fields run the football. He's not reading the field. It's just in complete disarray right now. Put Herbert on the bench. Don't even think about that one. Roschon Johnson, mid-level risk. Hard to trust anything in Chicago versus the Kansas City Chiefs defense that will come after Justin Fields. I mean, at this point, if you have no other options because of all the injuries, I would go Roschon over a Herbert, but I'm not loving it whatsoever this week. DJ Moore and Darnell Mooney, mid-level risk only for garbage time potential upside. There may be possibility here where DJ Moore is force-fed a little bit more as the media is becoming very, unpleasant right now in Chicago talking to Justin Fields. So we shall see. I do still like DJ Moore and Darnell Mooney in this offense more than any other piece, and then a little bit of a Roschon Johnson. But I mean, versus the Chiefs defense, it's going to be very tough sledding to gain a lot of fantasy productivity. Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Los Angeles Rams on Monday Night Football. Joey B, man, this one is an interesting one. This hampers you as a fantasy owner because there is high potential he does not suit up this contest. If he does, he is got an injury risk designation for me. It's hard to trust the top-end point productivity from this man. It has not looked good in Cincinnati thus far. Who's the backup? Simeon, I believe, for the Cincinnati Bengals. So this offense will take an absolute, huge leap in the wrong direction, especially taking on the Rams, who have played decently well. Aaron Donald will come after the quarterback. Find a backup plan for Joe Burrow. I don't even think you can wait till Monday night to, start him unless you're planning on playing Simeon. That does not look good on your box. No kidding, man. Joe Mixon, low risk for me this week. I think that they're going to have to lean upon the ground game quite a bit to at least try to move the ball. He did have a boom game this past week, barely, I think, by 1 or 2 points. But, I mean, at this point, you got to understand running backs are hard to find. I'm repeating it for the third time already. Mixon, low-level risk for me. Jamar Chase, he gets a mid-level risk, man. What is going on? You can't even get Jamar the ball at this point. Just does not look good right now. You got Jamar. You're obviously playing him. I mean, what else can you do unless you got an absolute stacked bench of wide receivers? But mid-level risk for Chase. Low-level risk for A.T. Higgins if Joe Burrow plays. If he does not, I'm pumping that too. A mid-level risk as well. Everything should get downgraded with a Trevor Siemian. Don't like it. High-level risk for Tyler Boyd and the injury designation for an Irv Smith. You're not touching that in fantasy football anyway. The Cleveland Brownies taking on these Tennessee Titans. Deshaun Watson, mid-level risk. He looks okay. Still not there where we want to see it. And now they lost themselves a little Nicholas Chubb. He is gone for the season. ACL tear, put on the IR. And they got Jerome Ford recently signed Kareem Hunt to the offense. Kareem Hunt, I mean, we all knew this was coming, okay? But the reason why Jerome Ford was on this roster and they released Kareem Hunt was because Jerome Ford beat out a Kareem Hunt, man. But they will likely utilize this backfield in splits. Probably 60-40 is my guess early on, unless the hot hand does swing to a Kareem Hunt. Mid-level risk for a Deshaun Watson. Decent enough defense for these Titans against the run. Don't like it. Could be a big fail for a Jerome Ford this week. I know all of y'all put up a lot of fab dollars, so play him at, especially for Chubb owners. If you got Ford as your backup plan, I completely understand you got to play him. But don't be surprised if he doesn't find his way into the end zone and he is under that 10-point threshold. Kareem Hunt, we'll see. He's going to take a few games likely to get acclimated back to conditioning strength in the NFL. Amari Cooper, low-level risk. I think that, they found a little something this past week with Deshaun Watson and Amari Cooper. Looked a lot better. I do believe that it's going to be moving in the right direction, and Cooper did not look still hampered from that ankle injury. He does look, at least possibility-wise, we could see a little bit more airing it out of the ball with Deshaun Watson. Elijah Moore does have low upside to PPR upside. I don't hate his game right now. 13.3 points is not a lot right now for me to get all excited, but he is starting to pop off on the PPR upside. I'm giving him low upside this week. Donovan Peoples-Jones, DPJ, high-level risk along with David Njoku. I'm not touching that this week whatsoever with a 10-foot ball. You guys can duke it out all you want if you want to play those gentlemen. Dallas Cowboys taking on these Arizona Cardinals. And, I mean, Dallas, huge news we saw, man. Trey Diggs, he is gone, and this is bad for this defense as they are just absolutely dominating the opposition. But a great matchup versus these lowly Cardinals who have looked good. But I think this is where they come back down to earth versus these Cowboys. Even though the travel is for Dallas, I got low-level risk on a Dak Prescott. Tony Pollard, stud start, man. This guy's been absolutely phenomenal. CeeDee Lamb, stud start. He went off this past week, and I fully expect them to continue this path forward. Brandon Brandon Cooks, mid-level risk. He is coming off that injury. I want to say he's a sleeper a little bit. They could go deep with Brandon Cooks, and he could find his way into the end zone. They haven't tried it a lot yet this season, and then Cooks missed this past week. Now, you do got to believe they want to try to pop off the top of the defense at some point. Brandon Cooks, this could be the week where he does get sleeper appeal. Jake Ferguson, he does have some TD upside, and Dak Prescott loves his tight ends. Just a little too volatile for me to trust, especially with Schoonmaker in the back as well behind a Jake Ferguson. There could be some opportunity for both these gentlemen to catch the football. The Denver Broncos taking on these Miami Dolphins. Let's ride. Russell Wilson, you have found your way back to fantasy football productivity. 42 points, baby. You're talking let's ride. We're riding to the championship with Russell Wilson already, man, only in week 3. Against the Miami Dolphins defense, who is still very good. They will come after Russell Wilson, but I think Russ is a low risk this week. If you had issues, I mean, like Daniel Jones on Thursday night, like I did, had to make some, choices. Russell Wilson was that choice you had to make. And I mean, this week, I think, especially even with a Joe Burrow, man, potentially on Monday Night Football, you don't want to play Joey B. Russell Wilson is definitely a great fill-in for you. Low risk versus Miami Dolphins. They will continue to throw the ball. Javonte Williams, mid-level risk. I want to see more out of this run game. The commitment is not there. Same with Perine. Low upside, TD upside for a Perine, where a Javonte really needs to get some more volume. It is week 3. I was saying around week 4 to week 6, we could see them start to unleash Javonte just a little bit more. This could be the week that they require him to carry the football to at least set up the play-action pass and control the clock. Jerry Jeudy, mid-level risk. Comes back from the injury without any, setback whatsoever. So maybe they start to feed this man the ball. Cortland Sutton, mid-level risk for me. Don't like the play with Jeudy back and the fact that they found something with Marvin Mims. They found something this past week. I think that he's going to start to pop off and be utilized a little bit more, especially with Jeudy and Sutton pulling coverage to their side. Marvin Mims is going to likely roam free over the middle. Mid-level risk for all these wide receivers and Troutman. High-level risk for me. Detroit Lions at the Atlanta Falcons at the Dirty Birds. Jared Goff, man. Jared Goff and these Detroit Lions do look good. I mean, they let one slip out of their grasp versus Seattle Seahawks, but I still got low-level risks on a Jared Goff. Yes, the defense does look better in Atlanta. They are making it difficult, but they do hemorrhage points and fantasy productivity. Jared Goff is a low risk, as is Jahmyr Gibbs. He did not pop on the injury report as I thought he was going to. He's okay to go, good to go. No issues here, especially with a David Montgomery. He is likely doubtful for this contest with that thigh injury. Low-level risk for Gibbs. If anything was the week to play him, Coach Campbell, this is the week. Fire up Gibbs and do it big time so we can all smile ear to ear, man. Craig Reynolds, high-level risk. He will get his opportunities, not trustworthy in fantasy football. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Josh Reynolds are dealing with injuries, groin and toe, respectively. Okay, Amon-Ra, if he plays, you're obviously suiting him up. He does have the PPR upside, but there could be a risk that he does not finish this contest. Keep that in mind when you're firing up Amon-Ra. Josh Reynolds, mid-level risk. He's got likelier the better chance to play with higher upside this week. But, I mean, if they're both suiting up in this contest, I think Josh Reynolds, they found something they like a lot, and he's going to continue to push fantasy points. Start him. Khalif Raymond, low upside. He's starting to make a name for himself, where Marvin Jones starting to get his, butt planted on that bench. Heat warming. Khalif Raymond is not startable in any fantasy realm, but he has now popped on this list. Sam Laporta, low-level risk. I think this is the week as well, especially with a hurting Amon-Ra and Josh Reynolds. More upside to target share is going to go to Sam Laporta his way. This could be a big game for this rookie tight end as well. The Green Bay Packers. Oh my goodness, how do you drop that contest last week versus those Falcons? You had it in your grasp and you let it go. Jordan Love, low-level risk. He's been balling out, looks great in this offense, even amidst all the injuries that the Packers are dealing with. Aaron Jones likely going to suit up in this contest, but he still holds that injury risk. Hammies, you never know, man. Soft tissue injuries are a big problem for all running backs and wide receivers. A.J. Dillon, mid-level risk. If Aaron Jones, suffers any setback, he will get the bulk load of the carries versus a quite stout New Orleans Saints defense, you got to say. Mid-level risk for Dobbs and Reed. Reed came on the scene this past week. My scouting report, it's down there in the all the video section. If you missed out, go check out my scouting report on Jaden Reed. I told you, he can play inside, he can play outside, but if he gets in that slot, he's going to absolutely dominate in this league, and he showcased what he could do this past week. Christian Watson still dealing with a hammy. No word on if he's going to play. If he does suit up, I would say wait 1 week for this man before we actually trust it. We got to see it on the field. Luke Musgrave, I'm giving him a high-level risk. I don't like it whatsoever this week as well. Houston Texans, they're becoming a fantasy darling right now, and C.J. Stroud almost tossing 400 yards in week number 2, I should say. He gets a low-level risk for me because he's not worried. He's not scared to throw the ball. And C.J. Stroud was my guy. You guys know this. Go watch that scouting report. You're going to see he was my highest-graded quarterback in this class, and there's reason for it. I had him above a Bryce Young. And he's got this offense moving in the right direction. Nico Collins, Robert Woods, Tank Dell, they're all seeing the ball, man. Nico, 35 points. Bobby Trees, almost 20 points. And Tank Dell's 21 points. How do you not love this productivity that this rookie quarterback is supporting all of these wide receivers? You got to love it. Nico Collins is a low-level risk. Bobby Trees, PPR upside. I'm starting him in my flex everywhere you got him. Tank Dell, he's got high upside now as well. And against these Jacksonville Jaguars, they're going to have to get creative. So all these guys should see the ball in bunches. Who's the wide receiver one? Nico? Is it Nico? So that's why there's still confusion on defenses right now. They will get more tape on who is the number one guy, but Nico popped off this past week. I'm on board finally. Anybody that had questions, do you finally believe in Nico Collins? Yes, I do. I'm finally on board. Dameon Pierce with the mid-level risk to finish this off. Dalton Schultz, high-level risk. You're not touching that one. Indianapolis Colts taking on these Baltimore Ravens. Okay, and Gardner Minshew, mid-level risk, no Anthony Richardson versus Baltimore Ravens. I would look in another direction, even though Minshew can support 15 to 20 points in any contest. The Ravens should give him a run for their money. Zach Moss, mid-level risk. Where the hell did that come, man? 18 points this past week, 18.7. Okay, fine. If you have running back issues, I don't hate it. Start Zach Moss over Deion Jackson, obviously. Michael Pittman, mid-level risk. Again, he pops off in week 1 and then kind of falls back down to earth. This is kind of what you're going to get from a Michael Pittman the majority of the time this season. Alec Pierce, completely the forgotten man. Josh Downs, he has got low upside right now. They're just not utilizing the rookie near enough. I do not know why, man. This guy would be a PPR machine. Just get him the ball in space in the open field. He will show you what he can do. And then Kylan Granson, he catches his first touchdown, and then he goes to a photo shoot with the football. If you didn't see that, go search that up on the Twitter sphere, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. Mid-level risk for a Granson, where Minshew should find his tight end with some level of regularity, man. The Jacksonville Jaguars, Duval taking on these Houston Texans. Okay, and the Texans, while the offense looks good, the defense is injured, man. You see nothing but red saying out, 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 out. All the safeties, all the defensive backs, it does not look good. Everybody's chilling in the medical room right now. Jacksonville Jaguars, they have the biggest upside here this week, playing against the Texans on a bounce back after they lost and did not look good versus the Chiefs. Low-level risk for a Trevor Lawrence. Fire him up. Travis Etienne, stud start, baby. You got to love it. He historically plays well against these Texans, so I'm firing him up everywhere as well. Calvin Ridley, stud start as well, where you got a mid-level risk for Christian Kirk. I got no issues firing up Christian Kirk as well. Evan Ingram with the mid-level risk. He should find his way to good point productivity. We could see the first touchdown reception of the season for an Evan Ingram for these Houston Texans. I expect to see at least 40 points from the Jacksonville Jaguars. No kidding about that. Kansas City Chiefs versus Chicago Bears. If they needed a get-right game in any which way, this was the game they required versus the Bears. They got some issues on defense. Defensive coordinator resigns. They got issues on offense. This is the game that Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid got to find their identity in this offense. Stud start for Patrick Mahomes. Stud start for Travis Kelce. They are back to business. 1A, that's how it goes with this offense. Now you got to find all the other pieces. Who's going to step up as a secondary source? I got Pacheco as a mid-level risk. Do not like it, man. If you got better options, please start a Pacheco. Do not start a Pacheco. He may go off in this game. I got to see it, though. I'm not trusting that whatsoever. I'm tired of seeing it. Only 14.9 points. Not good, man. Sky Moore, I'm giving him the low-level risk. They found something this past week. Yes, Kadarius Toney is practicing a little bit, but you got Pacheco with a hammy. You got Toney with a toe. I can't trust Toney right now. If Toney sits, Sky Moore low risk all day long. Think they found something this past week. He was catching the ball, I believe he caught a touchdown. I'd have to go back. I can't remember right now after looking at all these stats. They all kind of morph in your brain. But 14.9 points after the horrific week 1. Sky Moore definitely did look good. Rashee Rice with a mid-level risk. You got to understand how this offense is moving forward before we get trusted also. Sky Moore, Travis Kelce, and Patrick Mahomes is where I'm going with this one. The Los Angeles Chargers taking on these Minnesota Vikings. This should be a bloody shootout, y'all, because the Chargers know how to throw the ball. So do the Vikings, and both defenses are not playing up to par right now. Low-level risk for a Justin Herbert. I could have said stud start. It likely will be a stud start for a Justin Herbert this week. Joshua Kelly failed everybody miserably this past week, and we got another one with Austin Eckler. He is ruled out for this contest versus these Minnesota Vikings. Do not like the Kelly upside at all right now. Again, you got better options. Take them. If you don't, I understand goal line upside will be key for Kelly to pop in the end zone this week. Keenan Allen, stud start, man. This guy is finding the fountain of youth. He's looking absolutely phenomenal, catching everything to come his way. He almost has 40 points himself. Mike Williams pops off this past week as well. He gets back up to a mid-level risk. I think you can start both Keenan and Mike Williams in this wide receiver room, and then Gerald Everett, mid-level risk for me. I think that he does have some good upside against this Minnesota Vikings defense that could give up some big plays to the tight end spot. Don't mind Gerald Everett this week as well. The Los Angeles Rams taking on the Cincinnati Bengals on Monday Night Football. They've been better than I had anticipated, okay? I was wrong. I thought that they would be a perennial bottom feeder. They are not. They look good. Sean McVay has got them playing. They're more, decisive. They're, consistent. They look good, man, what they're trying to do. Matthew Stafford, mid-level risk right now. He did pop off on the boom game this past week. The passing game isn't where they're absolutely, taking teams apart. It's the run game. Kyren Williams, 42.4 points. He's a low-level risk for me. You're definitely firing up Kyren everywhere you got him. They traded Cam Akers. The trust is there in Kyren. And, 2 boom games since he started the season. He looks damn good, healthy. Rivers is the back with the rookie. Evans, chopping at the bit to get in his playing time. Van Jefferson, high-level risk right now. You're not touching that whatsoever. Tutu Atwell, Puka Nacua both get the low-level risk. They're looking good, man. 26.6 for Atwell and 39.5 points for Puka Nacua because everyone's calling him Nakua. I still like Nacua. I don't know. That's how they called him at BYU. I'm sticking with how the BYU announcers called his name. And then Tyler Higbee, high-level risk for me. His dreadful season. We thought maybe potentially when Cooper Kupp went down, it was going to be Higbee's show. It's Puka Nacua's show and Kyren Williams. They should continue to move forward against Cincinnati Bengals, who could be without Joey B on Monday Night Football. The Las Vegas Raiders taking on these Pittsburgh Steelers on the doubleheader this one's Sunday night, but we do got doubleheader Monday night as well. Jimmy G taking on Pittsburgh. The defense in Pittsburgh, the Blitzburgh. They showed it again, what they're able to do with this defense. I fear for Jimmy Garoppolo's life this week with TJ Watt coming down that hill. Mid-level risk for Jimmy G. He still will try to throw the ball around. You're likely going to get anywhere from 10 to 16 points from Jimmy G. So if you got QB troubles, Jimmy G is a decent replacement, but you got to look for it, against a better matchup than Pittsburgh this week. Josh Jacobs, what did I tell y'all, man? He sat out the entire camp, wanted in preseason, and wanted his contract. I told y'all it would start slow. He set a record versus the Bills, being the first NFL leading rusher to have negative yards. This is not good. He doesn't look good whatsoever. It's going to take time. He's healthy. He looks healthy, but it's going to take time for him to get his football feet. Maybe this is the week that he does get back on track. Not seeing much of Zamir White. Devontae Adams dealing with that concussion. I believe he's not on the injury report. He's a low-level risk. They will attack Devontae everywhere they got him, and they got some good news with Jacoby Myers, mid-level risk. He should be, fired up everywhere you got him in, especially wide receiver 2, 3, or flex. I don't hate it whatsoever, but that concussion does scare you. Another headshot. He could be finding his way back to the medical room for a couple weeks rather than just one. Miami Dolphins taking on these Denver Broncos. Tua Tagovailoa, okay, he didn't look great last week, but still got the win, 2-0. These Dolphins are moving in the right direction. The track team that they do have, Bill Belichick isolated Tyreek Hill as much as possible, forced others to beat him, and that guy was a Raheem Mostert. Low-level risk for me for Mostert. He is back. He's 37.2 points on the season. Without any health issues for a Mostert, he is a quality running back, and he will showcase that. He did it with the 49ers. He's doing it here with the Miami Dolphins. Fire up Mostert everywhere you got him. We got Salvin Ahmed. He is on the injury report, so Devin Achane might see some more activity this week. Jalen Waddle is the biggest concern. True game time decision, I'm hearing, due to the concussion protocol. They limited basis he practiced, so he was on the side doing some reps, so we'll see if he does get cleared before the week is before Sunday Sunday starts, I should say. But, I mean, Jalen Waddle is a definite injury risk. If you play him, you could get a pop-off or you could get some, zero goose eggs on the board. The next one would be River Craycraft, likely if a Waddle does sit, or a Braxton Berrios. So mid-level risks for Craycraft and Berrios, where Tyreek Hill would go to a stud start because Tua would absolutely just force feed Mr. Tyreek Hill versus the Denver Broncos. And then Smythe, you're not touching that tight end. It is very ugly at the tight end spot in Miami. No kidding, man. The Minnesota Vikings, like I'm saying, okay, victory lap early. Yes, it's not cool, but I'm going to do it anyway because what did I tell y'all? The minute they got Dalvin Cook off this offense, I told y'all they wanted to be more pass-happy because they drafted the guy named Jordan Addison. They have done nothing but, absolutely show us everything. They're one of the biggest pass-happy teams in the NFL. Kirk Cousins, 46 fantasy points right now. He is an absolute low risk versus this leaky Chargers defense that will hemorrhage points to these wide receivers. When you're talking about this running back room, Alexander Mattison, now they got Cam Akers. High-level risk for Mattison. I do not like it whatsoever. Please tell me y'all got better options at the running back spot because right now Matty's not doing anything for your team. It does not look good. Play risk is for Cam Akers. He may not suit up in this contest. I haven't heard either way right now. It's been very hard to get any chatter, but I would put it on the caution that he just arrived and he's likely not going to suit up in this one. So we'll have to talk about him next week if he's going to play whatsoever. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, stud start for JJ, a low risk for Addison. 2 in a row, baby, for Jordan Addison to get boom games. I think it's going to be number 3. Trio, he's going to get the hat trick, man, because he's just that good, man. And he just gets open. He's separating. Nobody can cover this man because all the attention's going to JJ. You got to love it. Low upside for KJ Osborne this week. I think they're going to go to the studs before Osborne. Osborne could see his share, but he's still too volatile to trust as the 4th option in this passing game. TJ Hawkinson, low-level risk. Fire him up everywhere you got him as well. There's a lot of red on this one with these New England Patriots taking on the New York Jets defense, who will eventually get tired of this, y'all. I'm telling y'all, we're only in week number 3, so I want to say by like week 9, if Zach Wilson is not playing good football, this defense will pack it in for New York. So this is the week you don't like because they're playing the New England Patriots divisional contest. I mean, the Jets are 1-1. The Pats are 0-3. You think Bill Belichick wants to go 0-3? I do not think so, but I still got Mac Jones. Mac Money Jones as a high-level risk. Don't like the play whatsoever for Mac Jones. You got to get this man an alpha wide receiver 1. At what point do we see these New England Patriots give him that? Once he gets that, he will be a different quarterback. Ramondre Stevenson, mid-level risk. You're playing him everywhere you got him. It's going to be difficult, tough sledding for him to get in the end zone. You're praying that he finds his way to a tutty this week. High-level risk for Parker and Juju. I mean, they'll have their opportunity. It's just not going to be near enough to trust. Kendrick Bourne, mid-level risk. I think he will be the one that you want to, key in on as a fantasy player this week if you have issues at wide receiver, but I would likely move away from all of this. Hunter Henry, he's been booming off the charts. This is the week I'm going to say maybe not. I think there's going to be a high level of dedication to stop Hunter Henry from getting into the end zone this week. So I got him at a mid-level risk. If you got him, you're playing him, obviously, because you can't put him on the bench at this point. He's one of the only tight ends that's hitting for you every single week right now. Hunter Henry's a start, but keep him at a mid-level risk because he could get shut down with more attention to come his side. New Orleans Saints taking on the Green Bay Packers. Derek Carr, low-level risk. He has not looked great. He did not look good on Monday Night Football. I think a good bounce back versus these Green Bay Packers, who do see some injury in the secondary. We got to see Derek Carr play a lot better. I'll call a low-level risk this week because I like the matchup. Outside of that, I'm not going to call it for future unless he does show it again this week. But Tony Jones, mid-level risk where you got Kendre Miller, low upside, and I do believe we're going to see Alvin Kamara after this week. So this is the last time we're going to see this, makeshift, running back room at this point. But Tony Jones found the end zone last week, so I like the start this week for him as well. Chris Olave, CO2, low-level risk, fire him up. It's coming as eventually almost 30 points for this man, 26.8 points, Michael Thomas does have the PPR upside, 17.6 points. So he's been spreading the ball decently around. And then Shaheed, he's been doing the deep shots, and he's been fantasy viable. So now we're at the point where you can actually flex a Shaheed. It will have some levels of boom or bust, but there is opportunity where they're at least giving him 4 to 5 targets per game, which is very good upside for a guy who can stretch the field and burn the defense. I'm definitely playing Thomas, definitely playing Chris Olave, only playing Shaheed if I absolutely have to, and I do like Tony Jones this week as well. The New York Jets, it's a dump fire outside of Dalvin Cook, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson. no reason to really spend much other time on this because the New England Patriots defense will give Zach Wilson some fits, and it's going to be very difficult. I do believe that, with Breece Hall calling out the coaching staff this past week saying, we lost because you did not give me the football, low-level risk for Breece Hall this week. They should absolutely force feed the man where Dalvin Cook should see mid-levels, where they will try to control the clock. This has to be the MO of the New York Jets with Zach Wilson, who just cannot get it done through the air. Run the ball with your thoroughbred running backs and then try to get something to a Garrett Wilson. Mid-level risk for Garrett. He's just too damn good. He can make something happen himself. So if you got him, I understand. You drafted him super high, likely first round product. You got to be playing a Garrett Wilson at this point as well, man. Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Tampa Bay Bucks on Monday Night Football. They looked a lot better this past week. I mean, we saw what DeAndre Swift was able to do. Everybody called me crazy. I just told y'all, if he can stay healthy, he's going to ball out on this offense that does have one of the best offensive lines in all of football. What don't you guys understand? Low-level risk for Jalen Hurts. Low-level risk for a DeAndre Swift. Rashad Penny is just not it, man, unless someone else goes down. Yes, Boston Scott is dealing with, I believe, a concussion. Likely not going to suit up in this game, but it is DeAndre Swift's backfield right now to lose, I got to believe. A.J. Brown, low-level risk. He was chirping on the sidelines this past week for not getting the football, probably. You got to believe. I mean, he only had 4 fantasy points, half PPR. You got to understand, with Devontae Smith dealing with a hamstring injury, this is going to be A.J. Brown week. Grown-ass man week. They're going to force-feed this man the ball. Injury risk to a Smith. If he's playing, you're definitely firing him up. You can't keep him anywhere on the bench. Dallas Goedert, Dallas go there. He is not looking good. 5.2 points. It's so hard to trust, but I mean, if there was any option for Dallas Goedert to go off, like I was saying about other tight ends on other teams at week 3, Dallas Goedert is the one that you want to start this week as well, hoping that he's going to find his way into the end zone. Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. What is going on with this offense, man? Matt Canada, I don't know what you're doing. It is not football. You got everybody in the yellow and red for me. Kenny Pickett, no way. Najee Harris, low upside. Jaylen Warren, low upside. Everyone's saying Jalen's better than Najee. Yes, Najee looks like he's got some trailers attached to his ass right now, and I do not like it. Does not look good. This is the last week I'm going to say start Najee Harris if you have him because he's on your, you drafted him where you did, and the matchup is very good. This is the last time I do it, Najee. If you got better options, obviously take them. But if you have Najee, this is the last time we do it, y'all. And then we're going to have to play matchups. That's it. That's all we're doing. Jaylen Warren, only 14.9. He hasn't looked great either in this offense. They can't run the ball for, the life of them. George Pickens, only wide receiver I'm trusting in this offense, where Pat Freiermuth also pulls a mid-level risk. Everyone else, I am not playing this week. They got to show me something more. Looking other options for these Steelers. Seattle Seahawks taking on the Carolina Panthers. Panthers lost Shaq this past week. It's going to be season-ending IR because I believe it was a broken fibula. Not good. This offense, man, the Seattle Seahawks showed some fight versus the Detroit Lions this past week. Geno Smith looked good for most of the day. Kenny Walker III looked great. And now going up against the Panthers defense, who have lost Shaq, I should say. Fire up Kenny as well. Geno, fire him up. Fire up Kenny, and then fire up DK. Fire up Tyler Lockett. These guys are all low-level risks for me. There's going to be opportunity for Geno Smith to pass the ball around as his defense is going to be struggling to understand how to stop all of this talent. And, I mean, you already lost J.C. Horn. Now you lost Thompson. They're dropping like flies on that defense. There's going to be ample opportunity for them to roam free in this offense. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett should have another very, very good day. Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on those Philadelphia Eagles on Monday Night Football. Baker Mayfield's feeling dangerous, y'all. He looks good, efficient. What did I say again? Second week in a row, third week in a row, all the way in the offseason. I was telling y'all, as long as he doesn't turn the ball over, it should be okay. I didn't think it would be this good. But I did say that Mike Evans and Chris Godwin can absolutely uplift a Baker Mayfield. That's exactly what's going down. Mid-level for Baker Mayfield. Philly's defense still is good enough on the defensive front to give him, a lot of pressure and make some mistakes. Rachaad White finally showed what he could do. Mid-level risk versus the Eagles' stout run defense. It will be tricky and tough, man. Mike Evans, low-level risk. He's going to be one of the biggest value plays that you ever got from your draft, where his ADP was to return on investment. Mike Evans is absolutely balling for y'all. Chris Godwin doing more than enough, like a Michael Thomas, the 8, 9, 10 points. It's around that area. Flex play is looking pretty good for Chris Godwin as well. Trey Palmer and Cade Otton, high-level risks at this point. We got to see Baker spread the ball around to all these wide receivers just a little bit more before we could trust it. Tennessee Titans, Ryan Tannehill, mid-level risk. Yeah, it's so tough to trust these Titans right now. I'm not touching Tannehill. I'm not touching, Westbrook Akina. Even Treylon Burks hard to trust. Right now, it's basically the Derrick Henry show and DeAndre Hopkins only because of name cachet. That's all we're doing. I got low-level risk on a Derrick Henry. Should be able to run pretty decently well, even though this Cleveland Browns defense is very strong, y'all. They're going to continue to push. Derrick Henry, low-level risk rather than a stud start. They're going to give him a lot of touches, but DeAndre Hopkins got to be better. Give Tannehill somewhere to throw, but is Tannehill good enough to drop it in the breadbasket? It's so far not good. Don't like it. Westbrook Akeen, low upside. Treylon Burks, mid-level risk. And Okonkwo, high-level risk. Told y'all I was staying away from him the entire offseason. Until they can get a damn quarterback, man. If it's Malik Willis or Will Levis, get them out there. We need a quarterback with a strong arm that can actually, deal the ball to these guys. Last one I got is the Washington Commanders. The Commies taking on my Buffalo Bills. Now we can talk the good graces of Sam Howell. I almost started talking about him when I was covering the Bills, but Sam Howell was my guy. He is proving it, man. He is a great quarterback. Ball placement was never an issue. Full-on arm strength. Okay, he doesn't have the cannon. He's got more than enough arm. Throws the prettiest spiral you'll ever see. He's not afraid to go over the linebackers in the zone in the middle, mid-range, 20 yards. Sam can literally do it all. And with a cast like Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel, it's making life easy for him. Playing with a guy like Eric Bieniemy, Howell's a mid-level risk even against these Buffalo Bills. He will be pressured quite a bit, but I do think – I'm curious, okay, because this is probably the best defense he's seen so far this year. I want to see how he overcomes. There will be likely some issues, maybe some turnovers. He has struggled with holding on to the football, but I do like mid-level risk. I would look in another direction to start instead of starting a Sam Howell, someone else. Brian Robinson, low-level risk. The Bills did improve their rushing defense this past week. I think Brian Robinson's good enough that he'll be able to gash him just a little bit. Antonio Gibson likes playing against these Buffalo Bills. I got him as a high-level risk only due to usage, but if he does find his way onto this field, do not be surprised if Antonio Gibson finds his way to some decent point productivity because he's gashed them in past years, and he knows how to play the Buffalo Bills. Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, mid-level risk right now, 18 points and 10.2 respectively. I was hoping for a little bit more. Maybe I was overambitious on what this offense was going to be, passing the football to high levels, and it just isn't there yet. Maybe, halfway point, we start to see them open it up just a little bit more. But McLaurin, mid-level, Jahan, mid-level, I still like the plays because they're going to pass the football. Am I trusting it to high-end degrees? No, it's going to be tough. Terry over Jahan this week, you got to believe, likely to be the better play, but Jahan can pop off with a touchdown at any given time, and you feel like it's almost there. Just give him a couple more targets, and he's going to get there. So we'll see how it does go, but mid-levels for both McLaurin and Dotson. Curtis Samuel dealing with an injury. No Logan Thomas. He got absolutely clocked by Jackson from the Broncos. Low-level upside for a John Bates as they try to utilize the tight end spot versus the Buffalo Bills. But there you have it. That is week number 3. Start sit, man. I'm telling y'all, if you guys are 0-2, do not be afraid. Hit that waiver wire. Try to make some trades. Drop in some comments. I can help and assist you how to build your rosters this point forward. But nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts, and we'll see you next time. I am out.